Hello and welcome, I'm Suyash Maheshwari and you are watching Last Tick here on News 9 where we break down the day's action on Dalal Street. And Indian markets, they continue to correct for the third straight session on Tuesday amid global headwinds and rising geopolitical concerns in West Asia. Nifty on Tuesday opened gap down with a cut of about 150 points below 22,150 level, which by the way was its lowest opening in the April series. The 50-share Nifty even broke below 22,100 mark at one point in the afternoon trade, but buying interest in the last couple of hours did manage to pull the index about 68-70 points off its day's low. Nifty ultimately settled around the 22,150 levels, just touch below it. And if you remember, we in the morning had said that the index should be able to defend that 22,120 odd mark, by closing today. Now, this level is important for two reasons. One, this was the record high for Nifty in January, and we had spent a lot of time in that zone, and 22,120 odd mark did offer some resistance all through January till February. And as we know, once a crucial resistance area is broken, it becomes a support going forward. Secondly, 22,120 also coincides with the 61.8% retracement level for the recent rally to record high. So 22,120, keep an eye out for that for the very short term. Below that, I think 22,710 should be a big support for Nifty. Because that is a March 20 low, when the correction in the mid caps and the large caps, even mid caps and the small caps even impacted Nifty. March 20 we made a low of 22,710, and that I feel should be the big support level for the index going forward. On the upside, 22,200 is the first level we need to reclaim, and that also is the 40-day exponential moving average. Beyond that, look at the 20 DMA, which is currently placed around the 22,284 levels. But that said, the texture of the market overall is looking weak. Nifty in the last day has corrected over 600 points, and most of this correction has to do with what's going on between Iran and Israel. Remember, on Monday, it looked like Israel was not looking to respond to the April 13th attack on it by Iran. Iran too, said that it would stand down, and things for now are settled between the two countries. But, in the last couple of days, the head of Israel's military, they have come out and said that they have no choice but to retaliate, and Iran too in response has threatened to deploy weapons never used before if Israel does decide to strike back. So the focus is going to be what's brewing in West Asia, and the sentiment is expected to remain muted unless there is clear signs of de-acceleration over there. And also at a time like this, when the going ahead looks so uncertain, especially with what's going on with West Asia and our own local headwinds coming away, not so much headwinds but the macroeconomic events that we need to look forward to. Remember, we are in the midst of the earnings season. Last week we kick-started the Q4 earnings season with the results of TCS, but when we come back on Thursday, the markets will, will start focusing on the Q4 earnings as well. We have Infosys on April 18th. Wipro comes out on April 19th. Actually, we have 2-3 big companies, HDFC Life Insurance as well as Bajaj Auto, that will also report their Q4 earnings on April 18th itself. So lots to track. And across multiple industries, so keep an eye out on that. And we are seeing some bit of weakness already taking place in the IT pack on the whole. Look at the correction today, 2.5% Nifty IT was down, and the index overall gave fell about 0.5% or so, and most of this profit taking and most of these losses also came from Infosys, which by the way is was the top loser in Nifty today. I think the stock fell somewhere around the 3.5% mark. And if you look at TCS's numbers, the numbers were largely in line, but Street did respond positively to TCS's numbers because there were two things. First, that the margin continued to expand, and it was at a 3-year high at 26%. So even though the new orders are not coming through, or at least they are not getting converted into revenue, at least the company is able to attain operational efficiencies and improve those margins. So that was one good aspect to see. And second was the order deal wins. It was in fact actually at a record. The TCV, the total contract value, crossed the 13 billion mark in the quarter gone by for TCS. And also the management commentary that was coming out also suggested that maybe we are at this pivotal point, that over the next couple of quarters, as and when the Federal Reserve starts its monetary easing cycle, the discretionary demand for products and for services will come back, and the companies, their big clients, will start revising those their budget for discretionary spends, and that would of course bode well for TCS and other IT bellwethers, because remember 30 to 40% of the revenue for these top 3-4 companies does come from that market. But Infosys, I think the focus will of course be on what the management has to say and the guidance that will come out, because remember in the last couple of quarters, Infosys, the stock had primarily taken a hit because of the revenue guidance cut, and that could come back and bite Infosys once again. We have seen a big correction in today's session, but we will see what happens with Infosys come April 18 when the results are out. But overall, as I was saying, we have enough and more reasons to be to worry about, and at a time like this when the going ahead overall looks uncertain, it is very important to be on our P's and Q's to make sure that we are not caught on the wrong side of the trade. And for that, joining us on the show now is a very special guest, Mr. Kranthi Bathini of Wealth Mill Securities. Kranthi, thank you for joining us here on News9. Always a pleasure speaking with you, sir. And of course, the market, they have witnessed a big correction in the last 3 days, and the reason for the fall, of course, is geopolitics and what's going on in the in West Asia with Iran and Israel. I mean, the question now really is, how long and how deep this correction is going to be. We have something to compare, this recent fall with, when, by the way, when Russia invaded Ukraine in November 22, Nifty dropped by about 8%. During the Israel-Hamas conflict, it dropped by somewhere close to 2%. Now we are already down about 2.5% from the peak levels, but, also considering Iran being the top oil producer worldwide, do you think the implications are much broader for a country like us? Although I must clarify that we don't import oil from Iran, as Iran is under sanctions from the US, but supply disruptions in the regions is going to be there because of because of the skirmishes and the conflict going up. That could potentially shoot up oil prices, sir. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Suyash, good afternoon to you. Yeah, you rightly mentioned the markets have been going through the turbulent phase due to the geopolitical issues. Of course, India, we were importing Iranian oil earlier. And in fact, when the geopolitical issue, there was a turbulence between the Ukraine and Russia issue was going on. Russia was one of the key oil producers. So every time with these geopolitical conflicts that rises in the market, okay, it tend to have influence on the crude oil prices. In turn, Indian markets and markets across the globe, they have been getting into the volatile phase during these geopolitical conflicts whenever they surfaces. To give a broad line or broad period for these conflicts, very difficult. As you rightly mentioned, the war in Ukraine between Russia is still on, and the Gaza issue, it took 6 months, the entire the process, and still the conflicts keep on surfaces. So about coming to between Iran and Israel, the current conflict, how the things are going to escalate, we need to wait and watch. But markets are prepared for these kind of geopolitical issues at this point of time. But the joker in the pack we need to keep on watching is the crude oil. If crude oil goes out of the hand above $100 per barrel, that is the time we need to really worry, because it's going to create pressure on inflation, and every dollar increase in the uh, crude oil price, it's going to create pressure on GDP and the entire supply cycle. With this RBI monetary policy also very crucial. So we need to keenly observe how the crude oil is going to behave in the next couple of weeks. That is extremely crucial.
All right, all eyes will be on crude oil prices. Of course, we saw that initial knee-jerk reaction where Brent crude went as high as $92 a barrel, although we have receded from those levels. Currently, we are hovering around the $90 a barrel mark. But again, we are, in that uncomfortable zone. And if oil does move towards that $100 a barrel mark, I mean, that is definitely going to, affect our plans for monetary easing. Moving on, sir, BJP on Sunday unveiled its election manifesto termed Sankalp Patra. In the document, BJP has promised continuity of key policies and focus on infrastructure expansion. Other key areas that will also be in focus will be manufacturing, exports, MSMEs, and within this, infrastructure theme, the government is expected to focus on housing, defense, railway, aviation, energy, EVs, among others. I mean, Kranthi, coming back to you, sir. Should these be the themes that, investors should perhaps try to build their portfolios around for the next 4-5 years? And also any other theme that you would like to add to this fairly long list put forth by BJP in its manifesto?
Yes, you rightly mentioned there is a whole list of sectors that are going to take the advantage from the manifesto and the focus areas. And also, one need to keep the infrastructure and capital goods, and also the metals also going to be in the focus in the coming quarters. One need to think about when we completely discussing on the electric vehicles and electric infrastructure is concerned. We also need to think about the e-waste, because this also increases the e-waste, and also the recycling of vehicle policy is concerned. So the other things also going to surface, but by and large, prima facie, these are the sectors one need to keep in watch from the time being. And also one need to think about the railway is also going to be the prime focus sector going to be, Suyash.
All right, the focus will definitely be on infrastructure. I mean, the expansive list that BJP, put forth, I mean, that pretty much includes 70 to 80% of all the sectors. But again, some of the sectors that you also named, railways could be one theme that, one could look to explore going forward. Although, the prices, they have skyrocketed in the recent past. We have spoken about it at length. But Kranthi, I will move on. Vodafone Idea FPO opens on April 18 when we come back, and that is Thursday. And we have spoken about, Vodafone Idea at length in the past shows. You, for one, sir, praised Vodafone's management for trying to breathe new life into the company. I mean, that opinion is not shared by many analysts that we have also spoken to. But at the same time, you also flagged it as a high risk trade. But with the FPO, especially at a price of about 10-11, is it worth subscribing? And also, what type of investors can look at this issue? Kranthi.
Given the kind of 120 crores population, we are into a duopoly, and there is a chance for the third player to be a formidable player. So Vodafone, the current capital rise definitely give oxygen for their capex plans are concerned in the coming years. Definitely this will help Vodafone to sustain. There is a notion in the market. We have 2.5 players, 2.5 players. So now with this capital infusion, with the rise of equity, probably Vodafone can emerge as the third formidable player. That's what we can expect. But the concern area for Vodafone is going ahead, how they are going to rise the consumer base, the customer base. That's why have been getting depleted. That has been in a terrible condition from the past few quarters. They have been losing their customer base. They need to regain the customer confidence, and also how they are going to maintain the ARPU. These are the crucial things one need to watch closely for Vodafone IPO is concerned, and also for whom this issue can be suitable. Definitely for those investors who have a high risk appetite, definitely they can subscribe for the FPO of Vodafone Idea.
All right, I mean, lots of questions that still need to be answered as far as Vodafone Idea is concerned. But Kranthi, good to see. I mean, 70% of the proceeds of the 18,000 crore that the company is planning to raise are going towards, capacity expansion. They are going to work on expanding their 4G capacity as well as, roll out 5G. So that perhaps is good to see. But we are running out of time. So thank you, sir, for, sharing your insights with us, and always a pleasure speaking with you.
Always my pleasure, Shreyas, to share my views with the viewers of News9.
All right, that's all we have in this edition of Last Take. We'll see you on Thursday morning on First Take at 9:45. But coming up next is Business Plus.